For the dress I use a linen viscose blend. It looks like linen, but it's much softer because of the viscose, and I think it's also a little bit flowy, so I think perfect for the dress. And for the lining you can use the same, but I think this one is a little bit too thick, so I use a very soft viscose fabric for the pocket bags and for the top. And let's go. At the armholes and the front and back neckline, I've used some interfacing so it doesn't stretch out. You can also use ready-made stay tape if you like. I just cut mine from my regular interfacing. Then I've used the interfacing on. Make sure it's at least about 1 centimeter wide, so you actually sew over it later. Otherwise, it doesn't really do much. The slightly rough side is the glue side, so place that one on the fabric and press it on. I always put a piece of fabric in between because it can melt onto the iron. So now we can start to finish our edges. We can finish all of the pocket bags all the way around. And here on the lining, this is the bag. We can finish here the side, the hem and the side seam. And the same on the front lining, here also the side seam, the hem and the side. And then we do the same here on the back pattern, the side seam, the hem, and here I also would finish the center back because we have a seam in the center back. And on the, on the front pattern, we also finish the side seam and the hem. And you can do it with a serger or zigzag stitch, or if you have an overcast foot. So yeah, however you want. So now we can start with the center back. So I have here my 2 back patterns, and I place them nice sides together. So. And here's the center back, and then we can sew it here with 1 centimeter seam allowance. So, and in the same step, we can sew the front and back pattern of the lining together. So also nice sides together. Here's the nice side, and here's the nice side. And then we place here the side seams together. So, and also the other side, and then we sew the center back of the dress and the side seams of the lining. And in the same step, we can fold the strap here on half, and then we sew here in the middle, and yeah, then we can turn it with the loop turner. And then we can cut the seam allowance here a little bit, and then we can turn it with the loop turner. So then we can iron the seam open here in the center back. And we can also iron the seam the side seam of the lining here, open. This next step is only if you want the tie option from the pattern. If you'd like to add ties in the side seam to adjust the waist, make 2 long ties like the straps. Place them about 18 centimeter below the armhole and pin them into the side seam and sew them in when you close the side seam. So and then we have here our pocket bags, and here the center bag, nice side here on top. And then we place our pocket bags, nice sides together here on the notch. So if you forgot to make the notch or you cannot see it anymore, we can measure here from the armhole 20 centimeter. So and then we can sew here with 1 centimeter seam allowance. And then we do the same on the other side of the back pattern and also on the front pattern. So and you can also first fold it here on half and then make a small needle here where the pocket bag starts. So. Then we have them on the same height. And then we sew it also here with 1 centimeter. So then we can iron the seam here to the pocket bag. We can iron it first open, then it looks a little bit better. So, and then we iron it like this. And then we can sew here very close to the edge on all the 4 pocket bags. Yeah, then we can close the pocket bag, the front and back, and the side. So now we can place the front and the back nice sides together. So. And then we can sew the side seams. So I place here the pocket bags together. Here exactly edge to edge. So. So, and then we can sew here from the armhole with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Here 1 centimeter down here, and then all the way around the pocket bag here, and then to the hem. So we do this on both sides, and then we can iron the seam. Yeah. And then we can iron the seams. So you can iron it to one side or open, only until the pocket here. So now we can sew the lining to the shell fabric, to the dress, and we can sew in the straps here. I make a small line here, and this is my seam allowance, and then I measure it a little bit stretched, because when you wear it, it will stretch a little bit. So I would measure it from here, then stretch it a little bit, and then 24 centimeters. So, but I will cut this later, because I sew the lining in and the straps, and then I can try it on, and then I can cut the length, because if it's too short, it's sad. Okay, and then I make the same line here. So, and then we can start on one side, or maybe we turn the dress to the right side, to the nice side. So, and then we pin so we have here 1 centimeter seam allowance, and I pin the strap here in the middle, and here 1 centimeter lower is my line. So then I pin it here, like this, and then so first check which one is the side seam. Here's the side seam, so I pin this one here on the front, and also 1 centimeter lower. So here's my line. So, and you should check that the strap is not turned or so. Okay, and then I do the same with the other one. So 1 centimeter lower. So, and then we have here the back. So, and then it's like this. And then we take our lining. So first check where's the front. Here's the front. So I pull it here through the lining, and then I place it here. Nice sets together. I start here. Then the center front. And if you want, you can make a small line here in the middle, 1 centimeter from this side and 1 centimeter here from this edge. And then here in the middle is your point where you turn the fabric under the machine. I only pin a needle here, and then I sew here to the middle and then to the other side. And here you should check that the strap is inside between the two fabrics, not here. And then I place the side seams together. So the same in the back, and then we can sew it all the way around with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, now we can cut the seam allowance here a little bit. Here I would leave it like this and just try it on and check if everything is right, and then we can cut the straps here. And here in the front I would cut it here like this, and then you can cut a lot of small notches here, or you can cut it very narrow to the seam. I do it always like this because sometimes it looks nicer from the outside. Yeah, but you can do it however you want. So, and then we can turn it to the nice side. So, and iron it. So now I iron on the side with the lining. So here's the Scheiße. So and then we can turn it to the nice side, and then we can iron the seam here, and I always iron on the lining here, and I iron it like this, that I can see only a little bit from the shell fabric from the outside here. And if you have here in the center front a little fold, you only need to cut the seam allowance a little bit more than it's flat. So now we can try it on and check the length of the straps and the length of the dress, but make sure you need around 1.5 centimeter for the hem, so like this. Yeah, you can also iron it and then try it on, but I try it on now. Yep. Then we only have to sew the hem, and then we're done. And here on the lining, you can leave it like this, or you can fold it here to the inside twice and then sew here narrow, but I think it's okay with the overlock seam. Okay, and now we can sew the lining to the dress. I do it here from the outside, so. And I pin it here directly in the seam. So, and then I can make only a few stitches here in the seam. Yeah, that the lining here stays in place. And I do this on both side seams and also here on the center back seam.